let's just double back to the receiver room real quick before we throw to a break here. I'm with you on really being kind of unsure where I stand on Rashee Rice, because part of me thinks that I want to view him a little bit similar to Amon-Ra St. Brown, because I think they're not identical players, but from a deployment standpoint, that is that's definitely, he's kind of in that ballpark, right? He's a slot guy. He's used a lot over the middle of the field, crossing routes, big in breakers, stuff like that. I think that, I mean, I wouldn't have necessarily said this about St. Brown, but it is true about Rice in his rookie year. He's raw as a route runner. He's like average to, he's say average separator against man coverage, shown to be a good separator against zone coverage. And I think if you're going to thrive in that archetype of player, you definitely have to be a good to very good, hopefully great zone coverage beater. That's where I again, I want to dive back into the charting data with him in the back half of his rookie year and see if he really reached those standards, because that's kind of what I'm looking for out of that type of player. That's what Amon-Ra St. Brown showed me in his rookie season, which is why I was totally in on him going into his second season, when that was a very weirdly contentious debate in fantasy circles going back in the 2022 season, Andy, like the Amon-Ra St. Brown wars. I couldn't believe it was kind of so polarizing, especially because you had to his draft cost that year was wide receiver 25-ish ADP, or wide receiver 30. Nobody was asking you to believe he was going to carry that level of volume that he had to end his rookie season. He ended up actually carrying that volume. He had 146 targets in his second season. And that's kind of what I wonder with Rashee Rice. Will the ADP be asking you to believe Rashee Rice is going to have 146 targets? Because that's what St. Brown did in the second season. You look at the other guys that are following Amon-Ra St. Brown on that 22 Lions team: 70 targets for DeAndre Swift, 64 for Khalif Raymond, 59 for Josh Reynolds. Again, having Pat Mahomes as your quarterback is going to ease some concerns here. But at the same time, I'm with you that I think they end up adding somebody. Maybe because outside receiver, blank slate.
Yeah,
I think they can add some players that complicate this target tree a little bit.
I mean, I hope they do, right? Because most of the other names on that team are going to be gone or were pretty useless this season. So they'd better add somebody, because it's so impressive that they just won the Super Bowl with that particular collection of receivers around Pat Mahomes, and that team, throwing the ball where they did and how often they did. I agree with you. I just think we're not going to get any kind of discount, any kind of deal on Rashee Rice, because there's a very good chance we go into next season and people are like, oh man, second year receiver, Patrick Mahomes is his quarterback, and sky's the limit. He's the number one. I don't think that guy falls to with all those talking points. I don't think that guy falls to wide receiver 24 or wide receiver 25. I think he's going to really have to have an exceptional season to hit his ADP, to justify his ADP. I hope he does it. But you made the point perhaps better than I can, that it's not like he was an every route guy this year. It's not like he won in every possible situation. They did some very specific things with him that worked, and he was one of the three guys that they were willing to throw to by the end of the year, and that helped too. But he's so far away from being a finished product.
Yeah, the good news is that a high quality vertical separator, a legit X receiver on this offense, it's going to raise the roof and the ceiling, I think, for everybody involved here. That's where you get, again, similar to what we just talked about with Pacheco, where, they add I don't really think Mike Evans is getting free from Tampa Bay. I don't really think T. Higgins is getting free from Cincinnati, but they add a veteran like that. They trade up the draft board for one of these great outside receivers in this draft class. That's going to push Rashee Rice down a little bit, but potentially could actually raise the ceiling of his outlook, I think. So it's one of those things where, we're talking about ADP here in friggin' February.
Yeah.
This is a fake and hypothetical, non-real conversation. But these are the type of things that can get this offense that was really good this year, but they were 8th in dropback success rate in the regular season. They were 12th in EPA per dropback in the regular season. That type of move to get that type of vertical separator can take this entire offense up a notch, where, we're not struggling through Travis Kelce weeks. We're not struggling through these fits and starts for Rashee Rice. So I think that's the scary part about Kansas City is that they just won the damn Super Bowl. And we're talking about this offense that still has room for improvement in multiple spots. Andy, that is terrifying for the entire league.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as you said it. Like, they just won their third Super Bowl, and we got this laundry list of stuff they need. That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, again, this is why these type of teams are such beautiful reminders for the ever-changing landscape of the NFL. That there's a chance that L'Jarius Sneed and or Chris Jones play elsewhere next year, which is a bummer because that defense was one of the treats to watch this season. But as that unit maybe comes down a little bit, the offense comes up. And that's what we just saw with the offense and the defense, like the push and pull. That's why these teams, like I said, these dynasty type teams, these teams that win a bunch are so instructive for the endeavor of team building in the NFL.